So this time around we want to update existing movies, and the logic for that is pretty straightforward. So I'm looking at movies-db.go in our back-end project, and I'm just going to copy this entire function, insert movie, and paste it, and rename it to update movie, and then fix this query. So we're not going to insert into movies, we're going to update movies. And we want to set title equal to $1, description equal to $2, year equal to $3, release date equal to $4. And I'm going to make sure that comma is there this time. And I don't have any hash marks where I'm supposed to have dollar signs. So far, so good. Runtime equals to $5. Rating equal to $6, MPAA rating equal to $7. We don't need created at, so I can delete that because that's not going to change on an update. And updated at will equal to $8, where ID equals $9. And that should be our query, so we can delete all this. Now let's make sure these match. We don't need created at, so that goes away. And the last parameter, the last substitution is movie.id. So title description year, release date, runtime rating, MPAA, updated at, and ID. And that's it. Okay, so that function now exists, and that's pretty straightforward. So let's go to our handlers. And we're in the file movie-handlers.go, and we're looking at the function edit movie. And we do need to make some changes here. And they're not that difficult at all. Basically, here I have this if movie ID equals 0. That's fine. But what I really want to do is to make sure that if I'm updating a movie, I extract the information that's already in the database and only update the things that have actually changed. And I want to make sure that's as simple as possible. And I make sure that this code is easy to update in the future. Now, what I'm going to do is right here, after I declare that movie variable, I'll put an if statement in, and I'll check to see if payload.id is not equal to, and remember we get that as a string, so we check for the string value of 0, then I actually want to get the ID. So I'll get the ID as an int by saying ID, and I'll ignore the error, is equal to strconf.a2i, and you shouldn't ignore the error in production code, but of course I'm trying to teach a concept here, and we already know how to check for errors. So we're looking for payload.id, like that. That gives me the ID as an integer. Now I'll create a new local variable called m, and again I'll ignore the error, and that's equal to app.models, and I'll just get the current movie by ID, get ID. So now we have that. Now get returns movie, as you can see here in the preview, or the helper text that my ID gives me, it returns movie as a pointer to models.movie. And movie is not a pointer. That's why I put it in this local variable m, because all I have to do now is say movie equals *m. Okay, now I have the movie variable, which is declared on line 119. It's now populated with the existing values from the database. The only thing I want to change here is movie.updatedAt, and I'll set that equal to time.now, because that is the current time. We're actually changing it at this point. And down here, the first part will stay exactly the same. We'll just add an else clause. Else, if we're not adding a movie, we must be updating a movie. So error is equal to app.models.db.updateMovie and hand it movie. And we'll check for an error, copy this code, paste it here, and at this point, we are actually done. So I should be able to stop my backend application, start my backend application, everything compiled, that's a good sign, switch to my web browser, I'll reload to make sure this is actually the current page, and it is, and I open my JavaScript console to look for errors, and I'll go to Add Movie, and I'll bring up, say, Movie ID 1, which should be The Shawshank Redemption, and it is. Okay, the only thing I'm going to change right now, just to make sure this works, is I'll put a period at the end of this sentence, which it should have, just to be grammatically correct. And let's save it and see if we get everything right. Syntax error at or near $1. Also, I have a mistake somewhere. Well, we see here that our error actually works properly, so let's go fix that. Back to our back end. And I have a typo here somewhere. Missing an equal sign. And I was so careful when I typed that. I really was, because I made mistakes last time around. All right, let me copy or stop the application, start it up again, and go back. And I shouldn't have to reload the page. I should be able just to save it, and this should change if I got everything right. Change is saved. Perfect. Now let's go look at movies. And let's bring up the Shawshank Redemption. And there is the period right there. So updating actually works the way it's supposed to. Okay, so the next step is, obviously, we can add a movie, we can update a movie, we can look at a movie, we need to be able to delete a movie. So we'll take care of that in the next lecture.